People ask us all the time, how did we get into RVing? Well, for me, my very first experience with an RV or someone living in one that I can remember is my grandparents back in the early 1970s. They had a little Airstream trailer, and they would live in it every winter for a few months while they worked at Death Valley at a little place called Furnace Creek Ranch. And when they first started there, my grandma worked in the cafeteria and my grandpa worked maintenance. He was a carpenter, so he was really handy with everything like that. Later on, my grandma was a housekeeper at the motel and my grandpa continued doing maintenance. And they did that for probably 5 or 6 years, I think. And that's one of my earliest memories of my grandparents, is going to visit them in their Airstream trailer at Death Valley. Later on, as I became an adult and I had kids of my own, we liked to go camping a lot. And one time we went camping with our 4 daughters. This was with my first husband. And we invited my cousin and her husband and kids along. And they actually brought a little travel trailer with them. And they showed us their trailer, and we hadn't really been in an RV much. So we, it was a really novel thing for us. So it was really cool to go in and look at it and kind of imagine staying in one. And so we decided that we would like to have a travel trailer so that we could continue camping all through the summer. And also we liked to do road trips all over the country, and so we thought maybe that would be a fun way to travel and maybe a little less expensive with our kids. And so we bought a Jayco bunkhouse travel trailer, and it was just perfect for us with our 4 kids. And we did several vacations in that and several camping trips all over Texas, and it was really fun. And then later on, we upgraded to a cross-country diesel pusher Class A motorhome. And we did a lot more trips in that, did a lot of traveling. We really thought it was a great way to travel with kids because we could just stay in there and watch TV and play games and make snacks on the road and all that kind of stuff. And it was a lot less expensive than a motel room or a hotel room for a family of 6. So that was really good.
Well, my first experience with an RV was, I think, in about 1977. My dad got transferred from Virginia, from the Air Force Base to Berkshire Air Force Base in Texas. And so they bought a dually pickup truck and put a camper shell on the back of it. And it was a full-fledged little miniature, I guess, RV, so to speak. We had in that little space of an RV 6 kids, mom and dad, 2 poodles, and 1 St. Bernard. And so we traveled in that from Virginia all the way to Texas. And then when we got to Texas, we stayed in McKinney Falls State Park. We stayed there for about I think 9 months before they bought a house and land out in Red Rock, Texas. Then I guess my next experience with an RV, I don't remember the exact model, make and model, but I had bought it with my first wife, and I think it was a Class B.
Probably C.
And we kept that for about maybe a year, and then I think my next one was a tent trailer that Julie and I had bought together. That basically would probably sleep about, 6 people, I believe. It was a pretty nice little trailer, but we soon realized we wanted to go full-time in an RV, and so the tent trailer wasn't going to cut it. So we sold that and turned around and got the RV that we're in now, Holly, and had her now for what, about 4 years. And I don't think I have any other way. I really enjoy this lifestyle.
Yeah. Somewhere along the way in my RV travels, when my kids were growing up, we camped next door to a family that homeschooled their kids and traveled around the country full-time in their RV. And I had never really heard of that before, of people living all the time year-round in their RV while they traveled. And I thought that was sounded so fun. And so I talked about it with my first husband, and we actually almost decided to take a year off and homeschool the kids and travel for a while, but ended up not doing that for various reasons. I always had it in the back of my head that that's what I wanted to do for my retirement, was to live in an RV and travel around full time. So when Bobby and I first were dating, I remember telling him, just so you know, when I'm retired, I'm going to live in a motorhome and travel around, and you're welcome to join me if you want. And so after we got married and we had our tent trailer, one day Bobby just said, hey, why wait till we're retired? Let's go ahead and move into an RV now. And so we decided we wanted to do that. We shopped around for a while. We went to a few different consignment places and looked in classifieds. And we actually had made offers on 2 other RVs that fell through for whatever reason. And we had seen an ad for Holly on an online classified.
She was actually called Rolex at the time.
So we had seen the ad for her, but we thought it was just a little bit out of our price range, and so we just kind of passed by it, didn't think much of it. And then after looking for probably about 6 months, we saw the ad again. And we thought, wow, this has really been on there for a long time. Maybe they're getting kind of desperate to get rid of it by now. And so maybe we can make them a lower offer. And so we called the guy up and took it for a test drive and decided we really liked it. And we found out that he had only owned this motorhome for a few months. Their family had their home flooded in Houston during Hurricane Harvey. And so they had purchased this motorhome just to stay in while they remodeled their house. And so he just needed to get rid of it. He wasn't really looking to make any money. It was just kind of a temporary thing for them. And so we gave him a lowball offer and he took it. And so we got a really good deal on this motorhome. And so that just goes to show that sometimes you can find a really good deal, and don't be afraid to make the offer that you can really afford. So anyway, we signed the papers on Christmas Eve of 2017 and picked her up just a few days later between Christmas and New Year's. And that's actually how Holly got her name, is she was our Christmas present that year. And she is berry colored, and then also she is a holiday rambler, and so it just kind of was natural that her name would be Holly. There really was a question about that. It just kind of felt right. So that is how we ended up living in a motorhome full time, and we love it, and we're not planning on going back to what they call sticks and bricks anytime soon. We're just really enjoying the freedom to get out and go whenever we want. We always have a place to stay when we go someplace, and we don't have to worry about packing for a trip. So
it only takes us about 30 minutes to get everything pulled in, ready to go, and you get on the road within about 30 minutes. That's even hooking up the Jeep, pulling in the slides, just getting everything stowed away.
Yep, and we just love it. So that's our story.